talk about all of that, should we? With the man who is very much in the know, James Cleverly, the Education Secretary, is with us in the studio. Hi, good morning, good morning. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. It's a fantastic job. I mean, education, it goes without saying, incredibly important. So it's a fantastic job, yeah.
Just to clarify before we go any further, did he actually resign yesterday? Because I didn't hear him say resign or resignation at any stage.
Oh, I think we can take that as read. I mean, I didn't do a word analysis of the speech, but he is standing down, and he made it clear at Cabinet that that it was a pleasure to serve the country, but now we need to get a new leader, and he expects us in the intervening period of time to focus on delivering for the British people, and that's absolutely right.
Why does he think he had to resign?
Well, ultimately, to be Prime Minister, you have to have the ability to form a government. And when government colleagues in such numbers are saying that they didn't want to serve under him, then that, I fear, became inevitability. And it's right that he has stood down. It's right that he has put a team in place to continue governing whilst the selection procedure goes for his successor. And we should do that, I think, pretty quickly, pretty promptly, and then we can get very much focused on what we should always be focused on, which is, as I say, delivering for the people of this country.
Listening to his speech, he didn't sound as though he felt that he'd done anything wrong. Well,
I think clearly he recognised that he wasn't able to form a government. That was clear. He is standing down. I'm sure, and you're going to do analysis later on, I'm sure there'll be plenty of people that will do a word-for-word analysis. You can do a body language analysis. Those will be raked over, I have no doubt. But the fact is now that he is handing on to a successor who will be chosen, I think, pretty promptly. And then we will, all of us here in the government, focus on, as I say, delivering for the British people at an incredibly turbulent time, both domestically and internationally.
Does he acknowledge he did anything wrong? You know him well. You've been
well. He's apologised
for a long time.
Yeah, he has apologised.
He
has apologised. He's apologised. As I say, I'm not going to do a word analysis of the speech, but he has apologised for the situation, and he is standing down. And I think now the thing that I will be doing, my colleagues will be doing, and I think everyone else will be doing now, is focusing on the future, focusing on who's coming next, what their agenda will be, and how we continue servicing the people that put us into Parliament and put us into government.
He feels that changing Prime Minister is an eccentric decision. Do you think the same?
Well, as I say, I'm focused on what happens next. Look, you will want to do analysis of what has just happened.
I'm just asking whether you think it's eccentric.
And I'm saying I'm focusing, and the government is focusing on the future, which is the right thing to do. And the future is about making sure we have a new Prime Minister and Prime Ministerial and governmental team in place promptly, and in the meantime continue to serve the British people.
What's his role now?
His role now, he remains Prime Minister until a new Prime Minister is found. That's how our system works. I think that everyone recognises the incentive of doing that properly and professionally, but quickly, so that we can get some certainty, and so the new Prime Minister, whoever that may be, can build their team and make sure they're continuing to focus on what really matters, and that's the people of this country.
He did say he didn't want to influence major policy. Why did he replace 5 cabinet positions minutes before he resigned then?
Well, he has to form a government. We have to have a functioning government. He has put people in place. I looked around the cabinet table. There's a wealth of experience around the cabinet table to make sure that we continue delivering government, because the world does not stop. The issues that we deal with don't stop. So he has a duty to ensure that government continues.
But it's not his cabinet anymore, is it?
Well, it is until a new Prime Minister is in place.
So he is influencing policy then?
No, but the point is that there are day-to-day decisions that have to be made in all kinds of departments across government. What he has said is he is not going to make decisions that would limit the options for his successor. That would be wrong. I think that is the right and honourable thing to do.
So he's a caretaker Prime Minister, to all intents and purposes. Does that make you a caretaker Education Secretary?
Well, you are in the job that you are in, doing the job that you are doing until you are replaced. That is how it always works in politics. None of us know exactly how long we're going to be in our roles. Ultimately, I'm not going to focus on how long or whatever. There are decisions that need to be taken. In education, we're moving into the exam results season, we're moving into school places season, we're moving into university admissions seasons. There are decisions that need to be made. I've already spoken with a number of union leaders and a number of bodies in the education sector. I did that on my first day at work. I and my colleagues, I'm sure, will be exactly the same, will be working hard to deliver good, professional, functioning government for as long as we're in place. If that's a short time or a long time,
Understood.
None of us know.
OK. Will you be pushing for the 9% for teachers' pay increase that your predecessor, predecessor before last, who is now the Chancellor, was pushing for when he was Education Secretary? Will you still be pushing for that?
We absolutely... look, and as I say, I've been doing this job now for less than 24 hours. I'm going to be looking, of course, at all these things, including...
A lot of teachers watching at home
Of course.
this morning.
And look...
are you going to be pushing for 9%?
I am going to be analysing exactly all the decisions that I need to take
in terms an open door, won't you, with the Chancellor, because he's already said yes.
In terms of teachers' pay, I recognise how very important that is, particularly in a time of inflation, and of course I will be looking very seriously at that, and we'll be making
Is that
these
yes to
announcements.
9% or not?
I tell you something, I don't think it would be very professional of me to start making decisions on the hoof for making announcements here in the studio.
Why is that on the hoof?
Because I was appointed yesterday afternoon.
Well, that's no excuse, is it? Yeah, I'm guessing you think that you're very good at the job. I mean, you've been in government a long time.
And you know how
this works?
You know how to be very good at a job, Kay? I know, and I know this is what you do, is you are thoughtful, you are analytical, you make decisions promptly, but you don't rush them. That's exactly how I intend to.
And I'm well prepared when I come in for interviews.
Absolutely, and I'm well prepared to not answer that question.
OK, even though you know that the Chancellor would say yes if you said 9%.
I mean, look, you can keep asking the same question. I'm going to give you the same answer.
Well, I'm very sorry at home if you're watching and getting ready for school. I did ask him.
You did.
Talk to me about this party that I'm hearing about, this wedding party at Chequers, which is the grace and favour home of the Prime Minister, not the caretaker Prime Minister.
There is no such thing as...
OK.
There's no such thing as a caretaker Prime Minister.
So he's still the Prime Minister, then?
In our system, there is a Prime Minister.
What's he resigned from, then?
He's resigning from his role as Prime Minister and leader of the party once a successor...
So he's not yet resigned?
Once a successor has been appointed.
So he hasn't yet resigned? Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is he's made an announcement. You can read it.
Because I didn't hear him say resign in his speech.
Well, if you don't think he's going, we'll take a big bet on whether he's still Prime Minister.
OK, so he's Prime Minister, so he's still allowed to use his grace and favour home. So is it right that he has his wedding party there?
Well, look, as I say, I don't know the details about that. I've seen some media speculation. Unsurprisingly, that was not part of the discussion that I had.
Have you not got an invite?
With him. It's not part of the discussion that I've had with him.
Have you had an invite?
No. Oh. So the point.
Not flipping invites. If you get one, will you go?
So the point is, look, the point is, he is very, very clear that we are here to serve the British people. He is also very clear that we do that until the new Prime Minister is in place, and that's what he is doing personally. And we will continue to work, as I say, focusing on the things we should be focusing on, which is the delivery of good government for this country.
The optics, though, of having a wedding party during a cost of living crisis when we are potentially about to go into recession, you have to accept that would not be very good. Well,
people have weddings and wedding parties all the time. People have... it's celebrating getting married to someone you love, I think, is the most natural and wonderful thing in the world. And I don't begrudge that of anybody. And I know a lot of people, and I had constituents, a lot of people had their wedding celebrations delayed because of COVID, and they're looking to celebrate their love now. There is nothing wrong with that, and I'm not going to criticise it.
Is it right that the taxpayer, my viewers this morning, would pick up any amount of that bill for that wedding party?
Well, my understanding, and I don't pretend to be an expert on this. I don't have the details about how Chequers work. My understanding is that private functions are not paid out of the public purse. Yeah, but there'd be extra security, wouldn't there? There are hundreds of people there. I don't necessarily know that is the case. I think the security arrangements of government buildings are what they are. They are a standing cost. And whether
so you're pretty confident that there won't be any cost to the taxpayer?
Well, so, as I say, my understanding is that private expenditure is not funded out of the public purse. OK, so there won't be any cost to the taxpayer? That's my understanding. OK, and if you got an invite, would you go? Of course I would go. He's a long-standing friend and colleague. I know him really well. I know Carrie really well. But as I say, I'm not so presumptuous, and I don't want to get told off by anyone, them or Mrs. C, for presumptively inserting myself in someone else's celebration.
Well, I think she should probably buy a hat just in case, is what I'm suggesting. Will you stand for leader?
No, I won't be. So as you know, I put myself forward last time. I don't regret that. I really enjoyed it. As you know, my wife has been going through cancer treatment, and whilst that is progressing well, it hasn't concluded. It's not the right time for me. And I feel comfortable that actually we have a range of candidates within the party that would make excellent prime ministers. And before you ask the next obvious question, I haven't decided who I'm going to support yet.
What I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you, how is your missus doing?
Oh, that's really... Yeah, it's going well. The medical team at Guy's and the team at St Thomas's that she's working with have been absolutely amazing. Things are progressing well. She's not quite back to her pre-treatment self, but the treatment seems to have been going very, very well. But
the boys are okay?
Yeah, it's always tough. It is always tough, and seeing someone you love go through that is not easy. And I know this is something that touches so many families, so many women across the country. But as I say, the treatment she's had, the team, as I say, at both Guy's Cancer and St Thomas's have been absolutely unbelievable. I cannot praise them highly enough. Been absolutely fantastic.
And then I was going to ask you who you're going to support.
I've not decided yet. Well, look, we'll see who.
What's the criteria?
We'll see. Look, the criteria is really simple. Someone that would be a good governor of the government. Someone who will be a good campaigner. Someone who will form a good government. Look, Brexit's done. So Brexit's done.
We're almost out of time. That's for another conversation. Okay. What about one of those that have stabbed your boss in the back? Will you still vote for them? Well,
look, as I say, I think that we have I think we've got a range of candidates. I do think, actually, that demonstrating loyalty to others is important if you want people to demonstrate loyalty to you. And I think that will be one of the criteria that is taken very, very seriously by not just myself, but by a range of people. But as I say, we have a number of people who would make excellent prime ministers. I think we're spoilt for choice.
Final thought before I let you go. Mm-hmm. We heard from Sir John Major saying that potentially, in order to expedite what's going on, you could get rid of the grassroots vote. So Conservative members watching us this morning would not get a vote in who the next prime minister would be.
So, like, John Major has an opinion. I disagree with that. I think what we saw with Theresa May, that testing a future Prime Minister's ability to campaign across the country is really important. Theresa May had many fantastic attributes, but what we saw in the 2017 general election, she was not a natural campaigner, and that was not good for government. So I think testing the ability of a candidate to reach out beyond the Westminster bubble is incredibly important. So I think it's an important part of the process.
Thank you for joining us, and warm regards to your good lady.
Thank you.
Hope that she continues to be well. Thank you.